Why are you staring, Nanako?
Is Akechi a wildcard has been one of the most hotly debated topics in the Persona sphere to date, and many people have attempted to come up with their theories and reasoning. The problem is that most of them do not cover the entire picture or provide enough information to allow the viewer to make an informed decision. But don't worry, if you're still undecided about the subject, this video will undoubtedly help you decide. And not only that, I will explain the Akechi 2 Persona theory from a perspective that hasn't been pointed out before. To start, I would like to define precisely what a wildcard is. There's a numerous interpretation, but we will begin with the most fundamental information, which is the game script. Some has had the talent of turning bond into great strength by forming a contract through intense desire. We residents of the Velvet Room refer to this talent as the wildcards, and it has at times changed the course of history. Elizabeth from Persona 4 Arena. The Fool is the number 0. It is the arcana that represents beginning and infinite possibility. Just like the card, my guest can wield infinite persona. We call that ability the power of the wildcards. Elizabeth from Persona Q. Only those who have signed the contract can enter this place, referring to the Velvet Room. Igor from Persona 3. Unfortunately, as you can see, the descriptions are vague, but let's work with what we have. First, we can knock out the fact that a wildcard has to sign a contract and associate themselves with the Velvet Room. Igor mentioned that those who sign the contract can enter the Velvet Room, but he does not specify that they gain the power of the wildcard after signing. We can hypothesize here that one is already a wildcard before accepting the contract. Some information supporting this idea can be seen in how some characters gain their power even before entering the Velvet Rooms. Aegis gained her power after a visit from a blue butterfly. Yu gained power after interacting with a mystery gas station worker, and Joker gained power and the Metaverse app after arriving in the city. Secondly, we can note that while cards are similar to the number 0, it is empty yet hold infinite possibility. It is also similar to the Full Arcana from the Tarot card, which is also represented by the number 0. Let's take a look at the meaning of the Fool and its journey. The Fool journey is a metaphor of life's journey. Each major arcana card represents a stage in the journey, an experience that a person must incorporate in order to realize their completeness. The Fool represents each of us as we embark on our journey. He is a fool because only a simple soul has the innocent faith to embark on such a dangerous and difficult journey. He is ready to accept whatever comes his way, and he is also completely unaware of the cliff edge he is about to cross. The number 0 is unusual. It sits exactly in the middle of the number system between positive and negative. The Fool is born in the midst of his own personal universe. We will conclude that a wildcard is a person with similar characteristics, someone who had yet to build a strong worldview and is open to any possibility, good or bad. Third, wildcards have a talent for turning bond into great strength by forming a contract through intense desire. Finally, they are able to handle more than one persona at the same time. These are the factors I will stick with. However, as we progress in the theory and more information is revealed, we'll make an adjustment to this point, and some of them might change your entire understanding of the wildcard or even what a persona is entirely. The primary reason why some people believe Akechi is a wildcard is straightforward, and that is because the numerous characters keep bringing up the idea that Akechi possesses an ability that are comparable to those possessed by Joker.
If you've got more than one persona, maybe you actually have the same kind of power as Joker's, that you trusted no one. So you only got 2 personas, one for your lies and one for your hate.
The first red flag people bring up is that Akechi is not of the Full Arcana, so some wrote him off early. However, when we examine the script one more time, we are able to contest this point by bringing up the phrase, "it is like." This implies that the wild cards, while sharing some similarity with the Full Arcana, is not the same thing. For example, Grass and Kermit the Frog are both green, but they are not the same thing. What about empty yet holding infinite possibility within itself? That's an excellent question. Why this has not happened to Akechi yet? I can tell you that it is not uncommon for a character to become a wild card even if they already associate with another arcana. That sounds like they possess infinite possibility. In Persona 3, the answer, Aegis, while attempting to summon Athena, transformed it into Orpheus from the Full Arcana instead, along with changing her arcana to the Fool and awakening her wildcard power. Later on, in Persona 4 Arena games, she is still listed as a Fool and can switch between Athena and Palladions, suggesting that she kept her wildcard's power. Apart from that, there are characters such as Sho, who is not listed as a Fool, but is a wildcard. More about him later and you won't want to miss it.
Anyway,
with that being said, just because Akechi isn't a Full Arcana does not mean he's not a wildcard. However, a fair argument is that we can't really always take what characters say as fact. How reliable they are with what they say depends on their understanding of the subject. So if you don't want to take, for example, Fusaba seriously, that's fair. The next reason is that Akechi is able to switch between the two personas, which can suggest that he can have even more if the condition is right. Some people mention that you'll have to be able to summon the entire compendiums, since Elizabeth said that you can summon infinite persona. However, she did use the word can, which just means they can do it and does not mean they have to. After all, it's just like if Joker chooses to stick with two persona and go through the entire games. What about forming bonds? This question can be explained by citing Makoto's dialogue.
I was honestly envious of your natural ability. It was frustrating to see how much my sister trusted you.
Showing that a lot of people are open to making bond with Akechi. The closest person who Akechi possibly could have formed a bond with is Joker, as Akechi admitted himself that they could have been friends, but he chose not to or is unable to without the guidance of the Velvet Runes. Most of the reasoning from the first camp is based on what characters said and surface level information, which make the most sense, but same can be said about the next camp, which take a lot of side, hidden, and more specific information into consideration, which to be honest, require more thought and bringing a lot of fascinating things to the table. So we arrive at the second camp. People here don't believe Akechi is a wild card. Let's investigate their reasoning and the counterpoint others used against them. Let's start with the fact that some mention that Akechi can be affected by Maruki's power, but Joker can't. While Joker is aware of the change and keep a lot of his memories, Akechi seems to act like a totally different person. Therefore, Akechi is not a wildcard. Unfortunately, this is a common misconception, which is not surprising since most people only play the game once on the winning route. Thus, they won't be getting the information from the other route. In any case, if you did not go to Maruki Palace by the deadline, Maruki will show up and change Joker cognition, which confirms that all the wildcard cognition can be changed.
Seems like you can't reach a decision. In all honesty, I really wanted you to accept my gift of your own free will, but I see that demanding a decision from you is only making you suffer.
Now, this one is considered the ultimate gotcha by the non-believer, and that is with the additional of Thief Den in Persona 5 Royal. Akechi can be seen talking to Yusuke, telling him that he can't summon more than two persona. So, that's it, right? Akechi is not a wild card. Indeed, that's when a lot of people call it a day and join the Akechi is not a wildcard camps. But I know you guys are here because you trust that we'll provide you with as much information as possible, just like we did with our other video. Considering checking us out if you are into Persona and JRPG content, and give the video a like if it provides you value. Okay, so here's the counter. The Thief Den, also known in Japanese version as My Palace, it as the name suggests, Joker Palace. And like other places, everyone is a cognition that Joker created. This is confirmed by Jose, so while I do think Joker has the right idea of how Akechi would respond, which is in a joking tone that leaves you unsure if he is serious or not, at the end of the day, everything anyone say except for Jose is how Joker expects them to respond and not actual information from the real thing. Moving on, here's another one that took some serious mental muscle to come up with, and it just might blow your mind. Some people believe that Akechi actually only has one persona, and there's a couple variations of this theory, but I'll just cover a couple of the more popular ones. One theory suggests that Loki is Akechi's real and only persona, and with speculation borrowed from Norse mythology, it suggests that Loki has the power to disguise itself as Robin Hood. While this is not shown in Persona 5 directly, Loki from Devil Survivor did disguise himself in the story, and while I'm researching this, I'm also learned about some messed up stuff that I want to remove from my head, but now I can. So since I'm making this video for you guys, I might as well curse you with the information as well. Okay, so there was this time that Loki disguised himself as a mirror to distract and lure Swan the Furry, a very powerful horse, away from its owner. Together, the two of them ran off into the forest into the night, where they decided to cook up some pancake, which resulted in Loki being pregnant and giving birth to Sleipnir, a fucking egg-legged horse. Well, do what you will with that information, but I feel better now that I've shared it with you guys. Another theory suggests that Robin Hood is Akechi's first persona, as the dialogue and in-game information suggests that he wanted to be a hero of justice when he was growing up. However, after he worked with Shido, his world will get corrupted and distorted, which should result in a palace, but since the persona user cannot have a palace in most cases, according to Morgana.
That's impossible. There's no way to have a persona and a palace at the same time.
Pardon?
He awoke Loki instead. While this is a cool theory, there are a lot of holes in the timing, but I'm not going to get into that because there is a simpler way to debunk all of this theory involving Akechi only have one persona or the multiple awakening. And that is during the interview with the development team, they confirmed that Akechi awake both of the persona at the same time. Now, if you think this was interesting, then you won't want to miss this next one. Another awesome YouTubers who I won't name because I don't want any of you guys to go over there and start some drama, came up with this theory mentioned that in Persona Q, when multiple wildcards are in the same place, their ability becomes limited, allowing them to only summon their main persona and equip a secondary persona. Without going into too much detail about the mechanic, just note here that equipping a sub-persona is not the same as holding multiple persona and switching between them. Hence Akechi can be a wild card, because he and Joker are both able to switch persona while they are together. Isn't Persona Q non-canon? Well, a representative from Atlas mentioned that it is. Is there any counter-argument? Well, yes, there is. Some people bring up that in Persona 4 Arena, which is also canons, multiple wildcards can be seen switching persona while fighting each other. In fact, there is a possibility of 4 wildcards existing at the same time in the games. Is Persona 4 Arena confirmed to be canon by the development team? In one of the interviews, Hashino, who is responsible for directing most of the main Persona game, confirmed it himself. What the hell then? How come the rule of the world seem to conflict with each other's? While I can answer this question, it will be insane sidetrack from the main topic, so just call it as the 2 points negating each other for now. Nonetheless, stick around our channel if you want to find out the answer when we make a video about it in the future. So if you thought that was wow, the next and final camp is even beyond insane, as they take the argument from the first 2 camps and form their own theory. They suggest that Akechi is a special kind of wildcards. While there is no official name for this type of persona user, in the most general sense, they are a wildcard with a unique condition. Some of the conditions include the potential to use more than one persona, the potential to change arcana depending on what state of life they are in, and the potential to form bonds. If you haven't noticed, the key word is potential. Despite not making the same choice as the traditional wildcard, this type of wildcard still has the potential to do so. You can say that they have access to infinite possibility. Some people call this type of persona user pseudo wildcards, non-traditional wildcard, inactive wildcard, sleeping wildcard, and many more. Although we'll be borrowing the name stagnant wildcards from the Megami Tensei wiki. Let's take a look at who else could fall into this category. First, we have Aegis, who changed from Aeon to Full Arcana, and he has access to the Velvet Room. Aegis most likely has the potential to take advantage of Social Link, but is not able to do so due to the certain circumstance. Similar to Aegis, Elizabeth, who is not associated with any arcana but later chained to death in Persona 4 Arena, and finally to Fool in Persona 4 Arena Ultimax. Additionally, it is also good to note that during Persona 3, even without associating with any arcana, she can already summon multiple persona. And then we have Cho. His story is a bit long, so I'll just include relatable information for now. Cho is of a Sun Arcana and can't even summon a persona. However, he has a second consciousness in his body named Minazuki that is of a Moon Arcana. At the end of the story, Minazuki passed on its persona, Tsukiyomi, to Cho before it disappeared. Furthermore, as part of the story, Cho rejected the contract from Igor, but since Igor offered him a contract, we can assume that he has the potential to become a traditional wildcard. Again, Igor did mention that he believed that Cho will return to sign the contract in the future. With all things considered, the theory suggests that for one to be a stagnant wildcard, one just needs the potential and to be open for the possibility of change. Now let's add Akechi to this. And if you think you heard it all, I haven't heard anyone approach Akechi's circumstance from this angle, so I hope what I'm about to tell you is intriguing. First, when Lavenza explained Yauda's plan, she mentioned,
"To decide the fate of the world, it chose 2 people with potential and pitted them against each other,"
implying that Akechi at least has some sort of potential. Next, I will explain the convoluted point that a lot of people have different understanding of, which is Akechi and his relationship with his 2 persona. While many people, including Futaba, mention Akechi having 2 persona, one for his hatred and one for his lies. As well as stated above, some people don't even believe that he has 2 persona. For me, this is not the case. To me, both of his persona are equally fake and equally real. Let me explain. The idea of a persona is based on the concept of Jungian psychology that was developed by Carl Jung, a real-world psychiatrist. Persona is Latin for mask, and while other Persona games also based on the concept, Persona 5 directly used the form of mask to represent a persona. Now, to explain the entire concept is going to take forever, so let's just go with the summary. The persona was the social face the individual presented to the world, a kind of mask designed on one hand to make a definite impression upon others, and on others to conceal the true nature of the individual. Are you on Magic Brownie or something? Okay, I'll try to make it easy to understand. As a person, we have things we like and dislike, and a lot of them are unconscious. Maybe you are a person who likes to swear a lot to express yourself. However, when you are out in society, you are not able to fully be yourself. You might act more polite at works, especially when talking to your boss. So you put up this mask that you have consciously construct to present yourself to the world. So while most people have one mask that they strongly identify with, some, such as Akechi, have two. Kao Jong does not really consider the persona to be fake because they are just a version of yourself that society can make sense of. But sure, some people will call it fake.
That's right. You're a big fat phony!
Furthermore, this explains how Akechi is able to have two costumes, as both of his persona are real. Let's just use the word legitimacy for now to make it less confusing. There is more to explain, but it will overlap with the next theory, so hold your thought for now. Now, there's a theory stating that while Loki is displayed as the Justice persona, he was a full Arcana in the older game. Some then speculate further, citing Loki design note from the concept art book and claiming that his design is based on a Dassault camouflage of the World War I warship. Norman Wilkinson, the artist who invented the pattern, explained that the intention of Dassault is not to conceal but to make it difficult to estimate a target range, speed, and heading. He has intended Dassault primarily to mislead the enemy about a ship course and so cause them to take up a poor firing position. Additionally, Loki Horn inspired by Green Band Broodsack, a form of parasitic mind-controlling flatworm that attaches itself to a snail, making it look like a caterpillar and make it move itself into the sun in order to lure in birds to eat it so that it can enter the bird body. All things considered, some believe that Loki is masking itself as a Justice persona, but he's actually a full persona. Pretty cool, I say, but I hope you're still holding your thought because now I'm going to continue from where we left off. From the story, Akechi mainly wants two things. First, he wanted to be accepted by society, and because he always wanted to be a hero when he was growing up, he awakened Robin Hood to fulfill this role. However, he's equally wanted to destroy Shido and make him pay for what he did, so Akechi also developed a personality that is cunning and open to taking advantage of others, which resulted in him awakening Loki. On top of that, if we borrow the idea from the theory we just discussed, with a Dassault pattern, it is capable of making people misjudge it. Working side by side with Robin Hood, both persona are able to catapult Akechi to stardom in a very short time. It also has the ability to make people and shadow go psychotic, not to be confused with the mental shutdown, reflecting the mind control property of the green batted broodsack. Finally, remember the part where it lured the bird to eat it before it infected the bird? Well, that's exactly what happened in the story. With the power of Loki, it did lure and convince Shido to take Akechi under his wing. Wings. Get it? Wings. If you want to learn more about Akechi's upbringing and understand more about his character than other people, how about checking out this video where I cover exactly that. Next, I'd like to talk about the reverse card theory, but unfortunately we ran out of time on this video. But not to worry, I will cover it in the future, so stick around and I hope this video at least allow you to make an insightful decision on the topic.